Hey guys, welcome to the episode 2 of Podcast with Runners for season 7. I hope that you guys had enjoyed the first episode of this season. Thanks for all the feedback that I already got out of that. Very nice. And this time, like last week, I have 3 more next set of amazing, wonderful runners who did a phenomenal season last time. And I can't wait to talk with them, learn a little bit more about them, about their experiences, and hopefully we all can learn from their experiences as well. So let's first, without further ado, let me invite them to introduce themselves. Please go ahead, guest 1.
Hello everyone. So my name is Veena Mistry. Some friends know me by name Vinny. I was born and brought up in Bombay, which now is called Mumbai. When I left, it was Bombay. I still like that name. So, and then live there in Andheri. I don't know, a lot of people know Andheri, Andheri East. And I did my bachelor's over there, bachelor's in commerce. And then after that, I pursued some management courses. And then I did my law. After completing that, I came over to US, almost been 20 years. And then almost 14 years back, I met my husband, got married, and then I have 3 kids here. Boy who is 13 years, my daughter is 12 years, my little Jasper puppy, he is 1 year old now. And I work in IT as well as my husband. He works for Bank of America. Myself work for E&Y, and I'm into product management over there. And that's pretty much about me.
That's amazing. Which college you went to, Vinny, in Mumbai?
So Mumbai is a Chennai college. I don't know if anyone's heard. It's like interesting place because a lot of friends I have who kind of are here and there.
Oh, I went to college in Mumbai as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I've been like, especially the college fest scene. At least all the colleges in the Andheri, Bandra area and the other area we were quite familiar with. So that's why I'm asking you. Very nice. It's a lot of connections there, obviously. Beautiful place, Andheri East and Andheri area. Of course, Mumbai itself is I would say Mumbai is the New York City of India, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Welcome to the podcast. Let's invite the next runner. Please go ahead.
Hey everyone, this is Dhanu. I'm Dhanu Shetty Tejaswi. I am born and brought up in a small temple town in Karnataka called Udupi, and brought up in Mangalore and Kudramukh. So my dad worked for a public sector company. I have 2 brothers, and my brother and his wife are also registered now for this season for running. Hey guys.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I did my engineering in Mysore University, where I met my husband, Tejaswi Gurumurthy. He's a runner, a mountaineer. It'll take a lot of time to speak about him, so I'll not speak about him. I came to the US on an H1 visa, and I about 22 years ago. And we are in Princeton, New Jersey now. I work in the financial services industry. I work for Bloomberg. The only sport, I was never athletic, but only sport that I ever did was what was offered in school, which was either basketball or group sports like that, or, track. And I wasn't good at it. I just managed to get my grades enough to pass those, PT sessions.
Yeah.
So yeah. Kids? Yeah, I have 2 kids. We have 2 kids, teenagers. They're high schoolers. I have a girl and a boy, and I have an Australian Shepherd who is 8 years old. That's it. Yep.
So we have already 2 amazing dogs in the group, and that adds my dog. So I think all runners have dogs as well. For whatever reason, they go together very well. I know that Dhanu talked about Tejaswi, and she's absolutely right. In fact, we have a separate podcast with Tejaswi. If those of you are interested, ping me, or I'll probably add that from a couple of seasons ago. Tejaswi is, what should I say? Like, he's so many things to so many people, especially for me. He's my running group. He's an Ironman marathoner. He's a full marathoner. He just basically, I don't even know how, I think he runs and then he also has a family. I think that's the sort of the order in which he executes his life, it looks like to me. And he's a mountaineer. We have climbed a lot of mountains together. He inspired me and many, many folks to run. And he's the one who introduced my coach, Sherry, who changed my sort of running trajectory to me. And as they say, rest is history. And Sherry inspired me, and I'm trying to do the same for others. And Dhanu, she's also blessed with, what should I say, a divine voice. She's an excellent singer, very, very sweet voice. And I hope that, when all this COVID thing is over, we can get a runners party, and we have some Srikanth and few more amazing runners in our group. And hopefully we'll have a runners singing band or something. Who knows? We can make something like that happen. It's where there is a will, there is a way, isn't it, Dhanu? And I'm so glad that you got your family into the group as well. It's really nice to expand our, expand the goodness that we have in terms of health to all our family members. I think that's the right way to go. Welcome, Dhanu. It's been really nice to have you here, and can't wait to can't wait to hear your experiences. Let's invite the third guest. Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jyothika Shetty. Thank you, Coach Bala, so much for the honor of having me on the podcast today. What a pleasure. I live here in Mansfield. It's a small town in Ohio, close to Cleveland and Columbus. I grew up in actually a neighboring town of Dhanu's in Mangalore in Karnataka. I went to school there. I did my bachelor's in architecture from Manipal Institute of Technology, or what we like to call MIT of India. And then once I got married to my husband, who's a physician, we came to New York City. I think it was 1996. And we've lived here ever since. So as far as my sports journey or my sporting background, truly not athletic. I was a very sickly child growing up, so I was very coddled. I think got a lot of notes to miss a lot of my PT classes, so didn't even finish those. But surprisingly, when I came to the States, the weather really suited me over here, and I think I'm much healthier. I have a daughter who's 23. I have a son who's a sophomore in engineering right now, and is actually in COVID isolation, unfortunately. But glad to be here and sharing my experience.
Amazing. And your husband is a physician, isn't that right?
Yes, yes, he's a
physician as well. So, and Deepika's neighbor is Dr. Vidya. Many of you would know. She's a runner. She's come back last season after a break, and she and myself and Dr. Vidya, we were classmates in grade 10. So it's always a nice thing, this running thing, apart from connecting me with great human beings, great runners, it's also connecting me with various people in my life, coming back so closely. So it's a very fun thing for me personally. So welcome all of you to this podcast. And you guys had a blistering season last season. That's one of the reasons why, I thought I will bring the three of you together. And the way you guys came together is, I asked your assistant coaches, give me one name that I should be talking to. And they didn't even think. They just gave me your names instantly. So they were just pleasantly, they're so happy to see you transform and grow over the season, and so happy to see you, three of you, come back again after your experiences from last season. So can't wait to talk about your experiences in the season. So let's start with Dhanu this time. Dhanu, tell me first, how did you get into running? I mean, you said you just barely managed to check the box on basic PT stuff, and then suddenly, how did you get into running? I know your husband is a runner, but what happened this time? What changed?
I've been running 5Ks. My husband started running, I think, many years ago, right? So he wasn't an athlete himself. When he started running, we started signing up for 5Ks. So but my commitment to running has not been consistent. I used to do a couple of 5Ks a year, maybe an 8K one year. And I would go long periods of time when I would never work out. So it got to a point where I would sign up for gyms and not use it. To justify the cost for the gym. And eventually I got so, I get frustrated with the whole process. I said, I really need discipline and I need to do something. I need a goal and I need a discipline. And running, that's when, I did like a commitment and consistency in running started with this group for me, because all I needed was someone to tell me, okay, this week you need to do these 5 things. And at the end of N weeks, this is the result. So I knew what I wanted. At the end of this, I wanted to run a half marathon. I just needed that, the thinking process of when I should do how many runs, when I should do strength. I needed someone else to do that for me. And that I got with this. All I did was I just gave myself blindly up for this process. I said, I'm just going to blindly follow this process. And if it tells me you have to do 2.5 miles today, I'm just going to do the 2.5 miles. So again, my commitment was not to the speed, but to get the run done, right? So and eventually I still cannot, I couldn't say at that point that I loved running. So, I'm not the person who will say I love running, so I'll go running, right? I loved other things. And running was an acquired taste for me.
Correct.
So even now it is like that. So I try to find things that I love to go with running. Like I like listening to podcasts. I like listening to NPR. So what I do is I start listening to them and then I run. That makes it a happy place for me. So now I can't even listen to those podcasts without running. So now it's become the opposite. So that's how I started running.
Of course. It's so, I've seen this story play out with so many people, right? So you're surrounded with people and then you need that one spark. And sometimes that spark is about, I need discipline. I need someone to just, show me the path and I don't want to think. I just follow the path. Till now, I had to think and I had to do it all myself, go and sign up for the gym membership myself, motivate myself. Nobody knows whether I'm going for the gym or not except me. But suddenly now the whole world is seeing you. You have a coach seeing you. You have other fellow peers seeing you. I can totally see that's the art part of this running journey, and which is very important. And how did you get to know about Runners High? Is it because you already knew about it, or Tej introduced to you, or how did that happen?
No, he mentioned it to me that you were you had started this group, I think a couple of seasons before I actually signed up. I didn't know how long your seasons were or how many you were doing a year. And I thought you had only done 1 season before I joined. And then when I saw the number, I was like, how did I miss the past 5 seasons? So I thought you had only done 1 season before that. But yeah, he did tell me about it. And he also scared me that if you don't do the first, if you don't do the first 2 weeks properly, he's going to throw you out of. So I made sure that I just followed it. I missed a few, but by and large,
Absolutely, you did. Of course, missing life happens, as they say. And by the way, guys, Tej is also the chief guest for our Runners High race day events. He's the one who dishes out the medals. He's the one who flags off the runners. And tomorrow when the company is big, he will be probably the chairman of the board of Runners High with Bala. That's his tentacles are across Runners High across the board, and he's one of those patrons for us. So it's so glad that his wife Dhanu has joined, and I think she's going to be a better runner than Tej one day very soon.
That's not my goal. So,
Jyothika, what about you? How did you get into running?
So pretty much like Dhanu, I think I've been like an inconsistent runner. Like I would go out, I'll run a couple of miles, especially during the summer. I'll hit the pavement, never enjoy it. But I used to always see runners out there and envy them. So there was that envy factor. I wanted to be like them, but didn't necessarily put in the time or the effort into it. And then you mentioned Dr. Vidya. So she's my neighbor and a very good friend. And then during COVID, while I was walking the neighborhood, Vidya was running the neighborhood, and I noticed she was not a fast runner. She was really taking her time with it. She was slow, and we didn't see much of each other during COVID. And then I met her at the end of that summer, and she said, And she said, Jyothika, I ran a half marathon, and it just blew my mind because I have seen her walking, and I knew she was not very athletic, and it just blew my mind. And it was not only the fact that she finished a half marathon, like her face literally lit up, like her passion and everything that she was expressing, there was so much joy in it. So it was that really, and she told me, you know what, like it was not something I ever thought I would do, but it was so easy doing it. I mean, I put myself through a lot, but so just seeing that happiness in her, I was like, okay, I've got to give this a try. She said, you've got to give it a try because I see you running around the neighborhood, and it would be easy for you. And I didn't believe her because I knew how much I hated it when I actually ran. So that winter, I actually reached out to Madhavi and said, I'm going to sign up for this season. And then Madhavi sent me, it starts in December. And I was like, shoot, that's winter. Like, and I don't think I want to do it in this winter because I don't have a treadmill at home. And I don't want to be running outside. So I said, just ping me when it's the next season. So you can see I'm a fair weather person. Like I want a good weather. So in April, like I kept looking out for any information. And then when the season came through, I signed myself. So I think it's all because of Vidya that I signed up for the season, running with Bala. And I think...
Yeah, I mean, what a fascinating story here, guys. So for the viewers, I want to parse out one point here because I know that you can identify this. Starting the running journey there is no one way to do that. One thing is already, these two stories are already telling you don't have to be athletic to start the running journey. What you need is inspiration. That's what is needed. In Dhanu's case, inspiration was a self-inspiration that, listen, I need some discipline in my life, otherwise I won't be able to do that. That was her inspiration. In Jyothika's case, she saw someone whom she relates with very, very well. And she doing something and she saw the end product and she said, why can't I do that too? That is mental benchmark at its best. The power of mental benchmark. She had a mental benchmark that was very much achievable in her mind. If she had seen, let's say, a Kipchoge running in her neighborhood, she wouldn't even bother thinking about running because she wouldn't have been able to relate to that person. So that's why they say, right, having good company to motivate yourself is very critical. Our parents used to say, have good company. This is it. This is how good company can make you do things that you never thought was possible. So that is an amazing story, Jyothika, and thanks for bringing that out. What about you, Veena? How did you get into running?
Okay, so mine is an interesting one. So I was never running before getting married. So I used to be a little bit athletic, here and there. I was back in, India, part of judo and then a little swimming here and there, but not really into running and any of that sort. I would go to gym and do those circuit exercise and all of that set and then, just get back. So when I was pregnant with my first kid, I would go to WCC, I would like walk around that 0.1 mile and my husband would be running. Then I had the second kid back to back. So I would again walk around, and then I put on some weight and all that in during that time. So that time I got motivated, every time I keep on seeing people running and they're running for like half an hour, sometimes 1 hour. I'm like, wow, like, I should try. So I tried a little bit and then started like, maybe 0.5 mile and 1 mile and all that. So I started, and I think I reached around like 2 miles something. But then I wanted to get, more and more. But then I saw at some point I got stuck at like 3 miles, and I don't think so. For the last 10 years, I could break that. I tried one time 4 or 5 miles, and then I had plantar fasciitis. I stopped running for like a year or two. So I thought that's jinxed. And I was one time thinking, I'll do a full marathon. I came to know 26 miles. I'm like, no way. I said, okay, I'll go half marathon. 13 miles, no way. So I'm like, forget it. I'll just stick to my 3 miles and that's it. And then that too started getting tiring. I was like, oh, maybe I'm getting older. I need to go to 2 miles now because 3 miles is getting tired. But I was like almost giving up and I'm like, 10 years and still I'm like can't go beyond. And then my sister-in-law, who's also part of this program, Priya Jayadevan, So she told me that she joined the running. I'm like, yeah, it was very good. And then she was running. I was like, oh my God, she's doing such a great, she's running there. And I was asking her, can you send me what timings and all the circuit trainings and all of she's doing. So I was very excited. I'm like, let me join too. So when I joined, I said, oh, I'll join 5K because that's all I can do in my life. I've not done more than 5K last more than 10 years. So I was like, I'll stick to my 5K. That's my limit. She's like, no, go 10K. I'm like, no, you're kidding me. I can't do more than 5K. So she pushed me into 10K. And then I joined and I said, okay, no, she's, I need to make sure I, stick to the schedule and everything because she has introduced me. I cannot, spoil her name. And then my coach, after 2 weeks, he said, oh, you need to move to half marathon. That's Coach Watts, who keeps on encouraging all the time. He's amazing coach, all amazing coach. But so I said, are you sure? He's like, yeah, I'll talk to the, coach and then I'll see if, we can move to half marathon. I'm like, okay, I mean, if you think I can do it, I'll do, but I don't think so I'm capable. I've not done more than 3 miles and my limit is 3 miles. He's like, no, you can do it. And then I was like, it was almost, 1 week I was waiting. I'm like, I hope, the coach rejects me and he'll say, no, she cannot run half marathon. I'm like, I hope. I was waiting. And like Sunday passed by. I'm like, oh, now I'm not going to go because 1 week back he told me he's forgotten, coach has forgotten. You know what? I'm going to enjoy my 10K. And then Monday he's messaged me. I'm like, okay, you are in half marathon. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. I was so nervous and I was sending my sister-in-law like, Priya, she put me in half K now. I was just hoping I'll get rejected. So it was very funny. And like, you said earlier, right? It's good to dedicate. So I was like, okay, my coach has trust in me. My Bala coach also has, everybody has trust in me. I can break it. So kept me motivated. I said, I'll take it one day at a time. And again, I kept on getting the coaching. Like I said, all this coaching, just need to follow all of them. And I made sure whatever, it was speed wise and, doing the circuits and all that. So slowly, kind of kept on moving. So that's how kind of I started into the
That's what.
half marathon. And yeah,
that's what, in our coach training, and it is not just for coaches, all of you are managers, mentors for somebody else, mentors for your own kids. I'm sure the runners who are listening, you're all coaches, mentors for somebody in your life. But I just, when Veena was talking about her interaction with Coach Watts, it reminded me of one of the coaching principles that was taught to us. And the principle of coaching is, at least the instructor gave this imagery in mind. That imagine that you are doing, one day you decided, I want to have one bucket list item is to go and do skydiving. Okay. So, and you go onto this into this flight, and then it goes to the 10,000, 20,000 feet or whatever altitude. They open the door. You are, wearing the parachute and everything, and you're standing on the edge of that flight. Okay. And then you look down and you see 10,000 feet of like sky and nothing else. And that is when it seems the first time skydivers, they just say that freeze. They say, man, sorry, I think it's all good to have a bucket list, but I'm not doing this. This is not happening. Okay. And that is when a coach is required at that moment. And that what the coach does is gently push that guy out of the flight. That's the job of the coach, is bring that person to the place where he has to make a call and just make the call for that person. That's the job of the coach. When that coach does that, and once the guy goes into the sky, he then has the greatest experience. It's just that just before taking on something humongous, it's natural for human mind to protect the status quo. So you will need someone to make that decision for you. And that is the coach's job. And if you look at great managers in your careers that you might have loved working, you would always see that great manager will make you do something that you thought you can't do. And that person either gave you that opportunity or just push you into that big project. They just put you in and just wash his hands off and say, you go and figure it out. Those are those critical moments in life where you just have a step change in your development, and that's what Coach Watts did for you. And I'm so proud of that relation. And here you are finishing a half marathon and now signed up for the next one. What an amazing, interesting story is that. So one of the learnings, guys, as you hear this out, is that look for that opportunity, either to do that for others or look for that somebody who is doing it for you and allow that person to do it for you. make the decision in the critical time and don't restrict and don't put your more friction when somebody else is making the decision for you. And they're saying, you can do it. Just go and do it. Let me fit it up for you. That time, don't overthink. Just go and do it. Just do it. And before you know, you're going to do some greatness will follow, is the key lesson that, I hear from your story. That was fantastic. So let's get back to Dhanu this time. Dhanu started running into the program, 16-week structured training program. I know that you haven't done anything like this before. Now you are in this program where you have to do it, right? So what are some of the highs and lows that you can remember in your sort of season training?
I don't know. See, the thing is, I was already committed. For a person who's already committed, I really did not think too much other than just do the things. The only thing, the challenges that I had was I wanted to enjoy running. And then because running by itself, I wasn't going to enjoy. I tried to find things that I actually enjoy and tie it with running. And that's how I came up with listening to audiobooks, listening to NPR during, all these Radio Lab and all the podcasts that I listened to. And so I started finding things that I will enjoy while running, right? So that's how I made running more palatable to myself.
Yeah.
And then I started,
You did some pretty interesting destination run as well, isn't it? Somewhere I remember.
We went to Croatia, and it's called Split. That was so funny because I was doing splits, and it was in Croatia, and the place name was called Split. So
that's what I remember. That was a very nice picture of yours doing that.
Yeah, there was an elevation gain of about 450 to 500 feet, I think. So that was hard, but we did. That was at my 6 mile or 7 mile point. I found it because I was doing 5Ks before my first, up to about 4 miles, I was okay. I wasn't even thinking. But after that, I started thinking, can I do it? But all I did was till 8K, it was okay. And then when I did my 9 miles, that's when I was very happy because I had never crossed 8 miles at that point. And when I did my 9 miles, and it was, I felt great. The thing is, why I say running is an acquired taste for me is I like how I feel after the run. Right? Right. So, and I also have trouble on some days. I try to find excuses not to do it. Right. But in the end, I tell myself, I'm going to just do 1 mile. Let's see what happens. So what happens after 1 mile and then 1.5 miles or 2 miles is something really changes in you. Magic happens, right? At that point, you suddenly feel that you can do this because I'm really literally dragging myself for the first mile. In a few of my runs when I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. I keep postponing it till 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And then I say, I don't want to look back and say I regret this. So let me go do, if not, I know that I have to do 5 miles, but let me at least do 1 mile. So I start with 1 mile. And like I said, after 2 miles, I start feeling great. And then the podcast is going. Either that or I tell myself the podcast is 50 minutes long. I'm going to run that much. Yeah. Right. So I just find things to take my mind off what I don't like doing. But now I actually like doing it. And now if I want to listen to a podcast, I tell my kids and husband, I want to listen to this podcast. So I'm going running. So it's like, and it clears my mind. So when there are things that I have to analyze, it is very therapeutic. It is very meditative for me at some points. When you're going at the same pace for miles and miles, it's very, like I said, your mind gets to this rhythm, and my thoughts become clear. And if there are, like sometimes I want to solve issues at work or some issues that of life, or if I have to think something analytically, a run really helps.
Golden words. So there are so many golden nuggets that Dhanu just, threw out. So I just want to make sure, let me summarize a couple of points, very important for all of us to identify. First one, breaking the inertia of running. the inertia of running is inertia of starting to run, never completing to run. So when you think about running, guys, let's say you have a 5-mile run, don't think about 5 miles. Think about how to get out of the house. That is all. Getting out of the house is not same as running 5 miles. Once you get out of the house, all you're thinking of is just trying to do 1 mile. That's it. Today, I can't do 5 miles. I'm only going to do 1 mile. That's all you're thinking. So for you now, it's only 1 mile. Imagine you're doing a half marathon run and you're only asked to do 1 mile, which is just nothing. I do the same thing with my daughter. Just go and do 1 mile. She goes, 1 mile I'll do immediately. And then after 1 mile, she is like fully ready and she finishes every time 4 miles, 5 miles, whatever. So that's one first golden nugget. Breaking inertia is about breaking your goal into small, small biteable chunks. It's all fooling your mind. Mind tries to fool you. You go and fool the mind. That's really what you're trying to do, right? The second important nugget that she said, running is a fantastic me time. You know, one of the biggest attraction of running is the me time, you, yourself, and your thoughts. I don't think any other time you have that level of luxury where nobody disturbs you and you are in your rhythm. You are just thinking about, like she talked about problem solving. Absolutely right. Most of my company's problems and strategies have developed when I was running. In fact, last 1 week, I've been so unproductive because my brain is not able to think at all because I'm not running because of COVID. Only when I run, I can dish out delegation, I can give work to people. Otherwise, I don't know what to give to my people because my brain cannot think. That is a beautiful example. And I'm sure all of you have experienced the same thing like what Dhanu just mentioned. Item number 3, you need to have some mental stimulation when you're running. And you can do something better than that by, like she said, podcast. I go for Audible books. Audible books is something that you all should sign up for. $15 a month, you can get 1 book a month. I don't think I would have ever read any of the books if I had not for Audible and running. I probably have finished 50, 60 books just because I listen. And when I listen, I'm in their world, you know, especially if you have some good speakers with nice voice, you are in it. You are literally transformed into that story, fiction, non-fiction. So I think these are all great nuggets, makes your journey enjoyable. And then marathon is just one of the byproducts.
And one more thing is when it's very long run, right? If it's a 10-mile run, I tell myself all I have to do is 5 miles. And then after that, I'm coming back home. So my mind seems to agree with that and I'm able to do it.
That's beautiful. Very, very nice, magical ways of fooling your mind so that it doesn't become a monkey and creates problems for you. You do the other way around. You control the mind in these ways. Beautiful. What about you, Deepika? What are your, Jyothika, I'm sorry, Jyothika, how was your sort of season training?
It went well. It went well. So for me, I think, starting was my, biggest challenge. One of the things that when I started, I decided was, there was going to be some other habits I would try to change. I forever have wanted to be an early riser, and my mind would always make excuses when that alarm rang to hit the snooze button. So I, constantly would have some reason for hitting the snooze button. And then when I started this running season, I told myself, I'm going to do my runs in the mornings. So there's a reason why I have to get up. Because otherwise it was just like, you need to get up, but why? 5 more minutes of sleep. So I decided to do my runs in the morning. And though it used to be dark outside, once I got out there, I noticed that there were other people running too. So I didn't feel alone. I realized that, people get out there, they have a reason and they're executing. So that was a byproduct for me from this whole running journey. I actually started waking up a little bit earlier. I just go to bed a lot earlier because I don't necessarily give up on sleep. But I think, running really changes so many atomic habits, like you start thinking about what you're eating, what you're putting in your body, like you want to make it worth it. Like you're putting all this effort and, strain on your body. And then, you realize if I'm burning 100 calories, that 100 calories, I'm not going to be putting it back. for if it's not for the right reason. So for me, I think those were some of the biggest takeaways joining the running season.
Beautifully said. It's almost like, you have this inefficient computer software program and you decide to just, let's change the operating system first. Let's upgrade the operating system. So running becomes, the running is the operating system. And once the operating system is new and ready and efficient, many other interesting apps can be loaded on this operating system and function better. You start thinking about dieting, you start thinking about sleeping. Many people start yoga, many people start meditation, they focus, me time, problem solving. I mean, all of these are beautiful additions to life, other pearls in your necklace that you're building. And you are absolutely right. It's a very valid, observation. Journey becomes more and more exciting, where running just is the base for everything else. Brilliant. What about you, Veena? How are you, when you think about your training journey? What are some of the things you want to say?
So I think starting, I would say, was not bad because, I have been a little bit running here and there, maybe 2 miles something a week or 3 miles, whatever I was doing. So initially was fine. But then later on, I had that in my mind phobia of 3 miles, I can't go beyond that. So it's like when it came to the first Saturday, 3.5, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I'll be able to make it. And then it was 4 miles. I'm like, I don't know if I will be able to make it, because every time it was the first time I was breaking in, and I know my coach would again say, oh, you exceeded that number, this is the first time you're doing that. So I was like, every little encouragement. And he would never miss to message. So I would keep on getting encouraged. I'm like, okay, I broke the 4 miles. I broke my 5 miles. So yeah. And then parallelly, another challenge, which I'm sure everyone faces, is something or else, go wrong. Like for me, I had some problem with my foot. So I'm like, okay, I can't give an excuse. I know coach said that if it is bad, you have to listen to your body. But at the same time, if you can do it, you can do it. So if there is, work around and it's just a matter of, pain a little bit here and there, you should be able to kind of still, go through. So there were excuses which I could have got away saying, you know what, my foot is still, recovering, let me get away and all that. But no, for me, it was like commitment, to this whole program, and then, kind of coach putting me over there. So all that kind of, I made sure it kept pressure on, kind of me, that no, it's for me and the coach and the team and everybody, right? So kept on pushing. And then my another challenge was the timing, getting up early. So I remember at times I had to wake up at 4 or 4:30 because I know I start my work at around 7:30 a.m. So I had to have my breakfast by 7 o'clock. So I had to make sure accordingly I had to everything, backward, especially when it was 4 miles to be running in the weekday. I have to, kind of time it out. And, to earlier Jyothika's point, it's dark outside. So for me, it was really dark. And once I was, messaging WhatsApp saying, oh my God, it's dark outside. He's like, yeah, don't run if it's too dark outside. But it was almost towards the end of it. So I was trying to make sure that I'm safe also, because barely there would be anybody, running around here. So kind of balancing on the timing, making sure, making sure all the challenges, kind of whatever, bodily or whatever comes into it, don't worry about it. But yeah, and then all the structure timing wise, right? So Dan was saying, just keep on following, just don't think about it too much, just do, start it and then keep on finishing. So yeah, I mean, weekends was tougher, but then again, that also I would make sure, try to make it some good destination. I remember going on one vacation and it was 8 miles run, and I'm like, oh my God, because I had other friends with us, I didn't want to waste their vacation time. So I woke up there too, 3:30, and I told my husband, you have to come with me, otherwise it's so dark there, I can't see. And I'll be run on the
waking up at 3:30 on a vacation. Think about that. Think about the motivation there. Wonderful.
Yeah, so I couldn't break it. Yeah. So it was really good. And again, amazing. And I keep reading all this podcast and everything, like you said, listen to them, and it just keeps on motivating you. It keeps on fueling you. You can't give up. You can't, how much ever you try, you just get so much motivated. So it's amazing. So
that's really nice. I mean, think about that. I mean, that just shows what a wonderful human being you are. Not only, you want to do what you have to do. That's what, if you think about it, what's our vision? Creating amazing human beings. That's the vision of Runners High. It's not about creating marathon runners. And what you just now said is one facet of that, which is you go on a vacation, you want to run. At the same time, you're cognizant that you don't want to screw up your friend's vacation timing because of your own thing. So what do? You wake up at 3:30 in the morning on a vacation. I mean, that's something I'll remember, and I'll use that as an example for other people. That's great. That's commitment. Veena, that is commitment. That's how commitment looks like. And when you're committed to a cause, you can never go wrong, period. And plantar fasciitis, other things you just said, those are all silly, small pebbles in this journey. You are born for greatness. That's how you should be thinking. And amazing. Two quick points on her story. One was around this controlled overload she talked about. 5 miles, 6 miles was difficult. When she was at 7 miles, 8 miles was difficult. But she was just 1 mile more. So her coach was just saying, hey, you did 6 miles, you can always do 7 miles, right? That is the structured portion of the journey. It is never going to be you are 3 miles and suddenly I'm asking you to do 7 miles. Never. It's a slow, steady ladder, which is what this training is all about. And she made sure that she goes through that journey. So that's an important, training element that she was eliciting there. Controlled overload is what we are trying to do here as part of training. Wonderful. So this time let's start with the Jyothika. Talk a little bit, take us to your race day. Maybe just a couple of minutes, maybe a minute or two. How was your race day? I want to experience your race day, how it went.
So, it was kind of interesting because, when it was time to sign up for the races, there was all that exciting chatter from the New Jersey folks. Y'all were putting a meet together and y'all were, you're exchanging all these ideas about how y'all were going to run together. So it was a little anticlimactic for me because there was no real races happening over here. And I was the only one. I didn't have company to run with. So it didn't seem as exciting as, everything that was going on with the other groups. However, I did find a virtual run. I was looking up to see if there were any half marathons going on in the area, and it didn't seem like there was anything. And then luckily the Cleveland Marathon said that they would do a virtual run. So I was like, yes, I'm going to do that. So I signed up and just decided to do it on the trail near my house. So I had been kind of, I had already decided that I was kind of going to pretend it was a real marathon because Coach, you had kind of said, doesn't matter where you're running, whether it's virtual, whether it's a big event, just pretend that it's real. So I had decided my start time was going to be 8 o'clock. So the day before I had completely followed the dieting rule, eaten a lot of carbs, done all that, laid out my outfit. And Vidya had told me, tell me when you're going to be running because I'm going to be there for you. So, my husband, like I said, is a physician, and he gets up in the morning and he goes to the hospital. So I didn't exactly have a cheering squad on the trail. So he dropped me off. He said, best of luck. My daughter's like, I'm not getting up out of bed, Mom, to see you off, all the best the night before. So I got there, I had my goo, I had my hydration. And the first few miles, I always never I have my AirPod on, but I never turn it on. I usually just like to kind of, especially if I'm doing an early morning run, I like to hear the birds and the sounds. And, that's kind of really puts me in my pace. And that's what I do, because usually when I start a run, it's the most difficult part for me. I can feel all my muscles and I try to kind of just ease into it, like just, feel like it's coming naturally. So I had already it was a trail I was running on. So I kind of knew, when I hit this spot, I'm at my 5 miles and, at 7 miles. So it was maybe easier than if I had just gone somewhere new and run a fresh trail, because I knew what to expect. I knew when I come up to the tree by the bridge, then I know I've completed half the race. So, there's just, another half to go. So, and then when I turn around at this point, As long as I'm feeling, this way, then I know I can do the rest of it. So I think that kept me going. Just knowing, oh, the bridge is coming up, or the little restroom is coming up. So I didn't feel like ever during the 13 miles, like I really want to stop and not give up. Like, I think after a certain time, I knew, like, I was a little disappointed in my timing and my pace. I felt like I always feel like I should be doing a little better, but on the whole, I felt like finally I'm doing something that I set myself out to do. And the last mile, like everybody else, I guess, you give it your all. And then when I came through, I saw my husband had, got out of the hospital early. He was there with flowers. My daughter had got out of bed and actually got there, and then Vidya was there too. So it was really nice, even though I ran it alone, and there was not really a cheering squad throughout. They were there at the finish line. So it felt great to kind of, see them there and, feel like that sense of accomplishment, which I'm sure everybody does at the end of it.
What a beautiful story. And Jyothika, let me tell you something. And if you are able to do that alone, okay, you are going to very soon do an in-person race. It has to happen, just a matter of time. Maybe this season you will find a right race for you to do a full in-person. If you are doing alone 13.1, when you get into the in-person race, it will be like you are having some steroids pumped in your body, because 10,000 runners running around you with the banners and music all around, and towards the end you have this humongous welcome back ceremony kind of a thing, and then somebody's giving you the medal. It's a high of a lifetime. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you have done that, you have seen ground zero. Now anything and everything from now is going to be up in terms of your race day experience. So it's also good to have the ground zero experience. Imagine the other way around. You were experienced in the New York Marathon style carnival only, and then suddenly I'm asking you to do alone in a trail. You will hate it. But now that you have done ground zero, anything and everything is going to be only positive. And it's been amazing to see that you've been supported as well. And you took the right path, which is assuming and pretending that it is a race, and start at the right time. As if it is a race, as opposed to starting whenever you feel like. So it's great that congratulations. How long it took for you to finish your half marathon?
I think it was 2 hours, 30 minutes or so. It wasn't the best of times for sure.
Nothing for best.
But yeah.
What is best? We all are running for ourselves.
Yeah.
Speed is just a number. I mean, if unless you're Kipchoge, you will always have somebody faster than you. So there is nothing, speed is just what is speed? There's nothing relative to others. It's always related to your own self. That's really that's why it's called a personal record. PR is more important than anything else. Congratulations, Jyothika. What about you, Dhanu? How was your race day experience?
I was excited. I was a little bit nervous. I was excited. The race itself, I felt went very well. But before the race, I was, because I did not want to stop for bathroom. I did not. So I wanted to, it was nothing race related. It was just, I didn't want to be interrupted with something. So I went to the bathroom. I went once, and then I was at the start line, and then I was really nervous that I might have to go again. So I went to the bathroom again. So it was just those kind of things. And I had to mentally tell myself when I'm taking my go. And I think what helped me that day, the race was enjoyable that day because I had hydrated well, not just that day, but 3 days, 4 days prior to that. Prepping for the race, I had hydrated myself very well. So I really think that helped me a lot. And the race was great. During the race, I did not really listen to any, anything. I just wanted to experience the nature and, look around, talk to people. So I did that. There was some hydration issue halfway through, you know about it, Bala. But another racer, Dr. Kumar, was there close by, so with a bottle of lemonade, or I don't know what it was, but luckily he was there. So I did get some hydration. So I dedicated 2 minutes of my race for him. So I did do, talking about dedication, I think I dedicated miles to my family. Beautiful. So I did, my first mile was for my mother and my last mile was for my husband. And all through the middle, every mile I was thinking about either one of my kids, and my two kids, my brother, my dad. So basically in that mile, I would think about what they mean to me and how important they are and how grateful I am that they're all in my life. So, and some friends too. So I think it was for me, in terms of my, soul searching, it was great. So I enjoyed that particular race that we did was that Johnson Park? Yes. So, yeah. And I think I finished a little over 231 or 232.
Brilliant time. And it's such a beautiful idea, dedicating to individual mile. I remember Dr. Vidya used to do that too. There are a few people who have had that strategy, and it's a very, very powerful strategy. I think
my sister-in-laws too. I also thought of I don't want to forget, because my sister-in-laws too, I thought of each of them.
Beautiful idea. It is a fantastic idea. And it motivates you, and also it's also mind space, right? You're thinking about that person and you're not thinking about your miles, and you think about the various interactions or whatever, and it fills you up with a lot of positive energy.
Yes.
Beautiful idea. It's a fantastic idea. I want to try it out in one of my runs as well. How was your, I know you also did, by the way, guys, she did that, and then she first timer, all of them, by the way, first time half marathoners last season. And then Dhanu got motivated after her first runner's high run, and then she decided to go and do Philly marathon, as a half marathon as well, a month later. Isn't that right? A month after you did
Yeah, that happens when you have a bunch of crazy runners around you. So I have college friends. My husband is a runner. We had college friends staying over who were going to run the Philly marathon. And in that moment, I just signed up, and, so that happens. So that happened, and I did run. I did not like the course. I don't think I hydrate. The reason I say I hydrated well and enjoyed well is because for this, I had not hydrated very well before the race, like I did for the first one. And I think I faced issues because of that. I still did not bad, a little over I think I took 2 minutes more than what I did for the first race. But I'm glad I finished it, but I learned my lesson, so I'll not make that mistake again.
Correct. And then also, right, back-to-back half marathons are things that you did it because you had other reasons for it. But that's another reason, that mental fatigue also happens when you finish a full journey season. It's remember, guys, it's not just physical. I'm talking to the audience here now. Running a half marathon is only maybe 40-50% physical. The remaining 50% is mental. When both these things come together, you have command performance. If mentally you are a little bit tired or not ready, and then physically you're ready, but mentally you're not ready, then you like it, you do it, but it's not your best performance or not the greatest experience in terms of enjoying and all that. So, I'm glad that you had an experience on an in-person race as well, which is good. Veena, how about you? Quickly, what's your sort of race day experience?
Okay, so I would say I did some things right, some things wrong. I should have enjoyed more like Dhanu and Jyothika. Mine was not that smooth one or that fun one. So I'll just okay. So before the race itself, my 10K went very beautiful, and that's the first time I think Vats knows that I'm always unsatisfied with my run. I told him, oh, 10K went so beautiful. My 10th one, I did a sprint also. It was great. So I was like prepared. I said, oh, I can do it. It's no big deal. I did 10K. Sorry, 10 miles. Now I can do the 13 miles. But the race day, few things I think I did wrong. One is I wanted to go early because I was not sure if I'll be able to see so many crowd and feel nervous. So I'm like, this first one, I have to do it. I don't want to get, too scared and all that. So I went early. It was too dark. I had to wait for 1 hour because we couldn't run in that.
Oh, so you were
Waited
not part
like-
of you didn't join the runners high group. Oh.
I was nervous. So I'm like, I will do it before everybody. So nobody sees if I can't do it. So I went there, it was too dark. And I pulled my husband because it's too dark. I said, you have to come with me. I can't go in the dark. So then he said, it's too dark. We can't see anything. So we waited for half an hour. Then I think we still waited for like maybe almost 40 minutes or 45 minutes. We had to wait because there was no light to run. And we didn't even know where to run. So in the end, there was some lights and then we started. I don't know, it was 7:30. I don't remember, but we started. But another thing I did not do correctly was that I know, again, I keep listening to all of them, but sometimes it's not possible to try on different ground surfaces, which I was always running on the road compared to this was a different surface. So one is the timing, one is because my husband runs faster than me. He went away, so I was alone again and on that ground. So my start was a little faster, so that I messed up.
Yeah.
So because of that, by 7th mile, I was like already started struggling. And then I think like Dhanu said, so I started, kind of dedicating every mile to, my family and then, all of them. And that's the only way I could have made it, because I don't think so I could have made it if I wouldn't have put my head out of it, because by 7th mile, I already killed because I was running 1 minute faster from the start itself. And I just couldn't slow down. So, but at least after 7-8 miles, I know a lot of other people started, then those stations were there. So I was happy to see everybody that, okay, now I'm not alone. There are people around, and it's motivated me definitely. And then all the markers you had put was amazing. Again, I kept on looking for it, and all the beautiful, those wordings also, everybody had put so much time previous night and put all of that. So I would read them. So many times I would read them and I could forget to look at my watch. I'm like, I again missed it. Next time I will not miss it. Again, I read them and I missed it. So I didn't know how fast I was running. So I kept on messing it up. But 8th mile onwards, I'm like, oh my God, I'm already tired and I had to go 13 miles. I started struggling started dedicating 1 by 1 mile, and the last one was for myself. So I made it through, but I'm like, okay, lesson learned. You need to do all these things properly. You can't run faster. You have to run. So a lot of things were there, which I could have done it better, but I was so happy. So like I did it, like, for me, it was that half marathon, like from 3 miles to 13 miles. Like, I mean, I did it. In the end, I did it. I was so proud of myself. I was so happy. And I couldn't thank enough to, this whole team who kind of, made me happen it. So it's just, amazed me.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
See, which is so interesting, right? For every Jyothika, there is one, there is one Veena. What I mean is, for every Jyothika who is forced to run alone because there is nobody there, there's no such thing, there is one Veena who decides to run alone, even though she has pretty much everything. She has the entire runners high group waiting to sort of help you, cheer you. There is like cheer stations kept, people with cheer dresses ready, and 8 stations. It's not like pointing to Veena here, but that is the nervous energy that builds up before the race day. That is what happens, where rookie mistakes happen. That is the controlling all of that is what is training. I tell everybody, that's why I said like like what Jyothika was saying, assume it's a race day, behave as if it's a race day. Now that pressure was too much for Veena to take on. So she decided to do something before the race starts because she was not able to hold on for that 1.5 hours extra. And this is not just Veena. I have had at least maybe 50 such examples where people do 2 days earlier. People do like, Bala, like, they ping me, Bala, I want to do 2 days earlier. My cousin is coming. I'm like, okay, stop that BS. At least give me the right reason why you want to do 2 days earlier. No, this is too much tension. I want to finish it off. So it happens, but it's good that you recognize that, Veena. But this is where you need to put the onus of motivating you to somebody else. See, when you do this alone, you are taking all onto yourself. Apart from running, you need to keep yourself motivated. You need to do all of the things, lighting, blah, blah, blah. Instead of that, there is a whole team trying to do that for you. Make use of them And then you just focus on what you need to do. That's really, this is not for Veena because she's already learned that. This is for the rest of the folks who are listening, that at least you will remember this podcast, that 16 weeks later, when the race day happens, the demons will come to you and say that if it is a virtual run, otherwise you don't even have a choice, right? These things happen because of all these virtual runs. When I was doing all these runs, there was no choice. You better go there, and if you don't go at 8 o'clock, you miss the race. That's it, period. You don't get your run a race at all. But now we have the choice of these virtual races. But even though it's virtual race, you got to go through the ringer. You got to go through the race day experience. That is when you really do a half marathon and the runner's high and all that good stuff will happen, and you don't make rookie mistakes. So remember these points. Thanks, Veena, for bringing that point up. And it is not just you. Huh? There are at least 50, 60 runners like that who've gone through the same kind of mistakes and go through that. But it's so funny you said that. Awesome. Let's bring it home. It's been a fascinating chat, guys. I think we probably have gone an hour already, and it just went by so quickly. So let us just bring this home. Maybe a tweet length word of wisdom to the new runners based on your experience. This time, why don't we start with Dhanu? What words of wisdom you have for new runners?
I think what I have found in my experience is you can come up with multiple excuses not to run. But as long as you find that one excuse to run, you can do it.
Focus on that.
Yeah. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. Just commit to it. Believe in the process. All I say is find that one reason, find the why of doing it, and you can do it.
Beautifully said. Absolutely right. There are 99 amazing reasons you can find for not running. Just forget about all of that. It's not just running, by the way, guys. I think this beautiful word of wisdom is applied for, if you can apply to other parts of life as well. If you want to go out for some party, don't go for 8 reasons why that party is not the greatest party for it. Like you might as well sit and watch TV, but find that one reason why you want to go, and then you'll have a great time. You can make that framework applied for pretty much everything in life. And I think you will end up doing a lot more things in life and have more experiences and more fun experiences. Great point, Dhanu. Thanks for sharing that. Jyothika, what about what's some few words from you? You are on mute, Jyothika.
I would say being mindful that there are going to be good days and bad days. You're not going to kill it every single day. There are going to be some days when you finish your run and you just did terrible. Your body doesn't want to do it. Your mind's not in it. But finish it, because that's not going to be a pattern. And there are going to be days that you're going to enjoy it so much that's why you sign up then for the next season of Running High with Bala.
That's so beautifully said. Like another Dhanu wisdom, this is not just for running. I think like running is a beautiful metaphor for life. There's never always good days. Life can't have always good days, right? You'll have good days, some bad days, but you need some bad days so that you can enjoy the good days.
Yeah, even a bad run is better than a no run. So.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Have a bad run is actually good, a lot better than no run and sitting and watching or something, vegetating in the house. Beautiful words. And as they say, right, your job is to go out and do the best for that day. It's not the best, not always improving on your performance. What is the best you can do for that day is what your goal should be. So every day you give your best. And some days your best will be absolutely horrible. Some days the best will be the best ever. So that's the way the cookie crumbles, as they say. Beautiful words. Veena?
Yep. So that's actually a good point, and that's what I keep. I would advise everyone, keep on reading all the advices which keeps on coming on. Both our those WhatsApp chats, and this is one of the advice I remember. Like, today's best is whatever is not supposed to be like tomorrow the game. Tomorrow may be another best, and today may be low, but that's your best today. So don't compare what you did yesterday and try to get feel bad about. No, today is your different body, different mood, different food, or whatever. But listen to all of that. Just follow all your, the daily, whatever is given. Don't think about what next week. Sometimes I used to get scared. Oh my God, it's going to go 4, 5 and all those miles later. Don't worry about that. You're going right now 4, you just focus on 4. Tomorrow is 5, we'll worry about tomorrow, because by that time you already improved and you're gone, much faster and better, whatever. So focus, follow, and just keep on communicating with, your coach. So for me, that also helped, like, wherever I felt like, oh my God, and I will message, and then he always would come up with beautiful, advices, and I'm like, oh my God, how does he has this magic answers? So yeah, just trust in this, program, trust in your coach, just keep going. If body will give you excuses, things will come, timings will be difficult. Oh my, I don't have this time. But no, if you have to decide, it's you who are making a decision. Forget the body, forget the timing and all of them. Just you have to follow. Just do it. That's your decision. You have to make it, and
Beautiful.
just don't get distracted.
Beautiful. Focus on what you need to do right now. Just forget about the future. Forget about the past. Focus on the present, because it's a present given to you. It's a gift given to you right now. Enjoy the present. Future will take care of itself. Past will suddenly look a lot better than what it used to otherwise. With those beautiful thoughts, boy, what a fascinating chat I've had with the three of you. Great ladies, great runners. Thank you for such wonderful words, pearls of wisdom, sharing, bring us into your life, so to speak. We started off, all of you, if you think about it, just 8 months ago, you were just recreational, short distance runners. Suddenly you're morphed into this, transformed into this heavy duty half marathon runners coming again for the second season. And you're not even in doubt whether you will complete the second season. That's the journey. The same time last time you were in doubt whether how it's going to be, whether I'll be able to make the commitment for 16 weeks and all that. Now I don't think none of you have any doubts about completing the season. It is just a question of how to improve and how to do better, and that's what you guys are thinking. I know that's the transformation that has happened, and I'm so glad that we as in myself and other coaches, were a small part in this incredible journey of yours. Thanks for sharing. And looking forward to more such anecdotes and more such victories from all of you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.